Commissioners Oshagan, Bayar, Vidor, Commissioner Vidor.
Here.
Vice Chair Tufenkian is unavailable to come to the meeting today. Chairperson Zadorian.
Here.
2, report of the recorder regarding posting of the agenda. The agenda for the June 18th, 2020 regular meeting was posted on June 15th, 2020 on the bulletin board outside of City Hall. Agenda item 2, consent items. A, approval of the regular meeting minutes from the May 21, 2020 meeting.
Okay. Did we have any comments or changes we'd like to make? Okay, I take silence as...
No.
I'm sorry? No? Okay.
I move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Roll call. Commissioners Oshagan,
Yes.
Bayar,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Chairperson Zadorian.
Yes.
Agenda item 3, introductions and presentations. A, Library Arts and Culture events presented by Jennifer Fukutomi Jones, Arts and Culture Administrator. So welcome back. We are excited to have you join us for our June 18th meeting. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that since our last meeting on May 21st, the world has dramatically shifted due to the heartbreaking deaths of George Floyd and the other Black lives, resulting in the protests and rallies acknowledging the importance of Black lives and the systemic racial injustice that has affected Black people for hundreds of years. The City of Glendale acknowledges that we stand in solidarity with those who have gathered to seek justice in the senseless deaths of George Floyd and the other countless Black lives lost to racial violence. On May 19th, the Glendale City Council declared June as LGBTQIA plus Pride Month. Throughout the month of June, Glendale City Hall will be lit up in celebration of Pride Month, so happy Pride Month. Upcoming at the Adams Square Mini Park gas station, we currently installed the exhibit entitled Road Trip by the Women's Athletic Club of Glendale, Quilters Department. The exhibit features 15 quilts by 10 unique quilters focused on travel destinations throughout California. This exhibit will currently be on display from now through July 10th, 2020. So we highly recommend you drive by or walk by at your convenience to look at those beautiful quilts. While the libraries are closed due to COVID-19, Glendale Library Arts and Culture is offering contactless curbside pickup of holds. The goal of this service is to offer access to our physical collections in a manner that is convenient, safe, and in compliance with the County of Los Angeles health orders. Please go to the website listed below for directions on how to reserve your hold for curbside pickup service. And beginning in July, citywide fines and fee schedule will not include fines for overdue adult materials. Fines for children and teen materials were eliminated in 2019. Acknowledging the effects of late fees that disproportionately deter low-income residents and children from using the much-needed public library services, the American Library Association passed a resolution in 2019 in which it recognizes fines as a, quote, form of social inequity, and called on libraries nationwide to find a way to eliminate their fines. Over 180 library systems across the country have eliminated fines, including Los Angeles City, San Diego, and San Francisco public libraries, and have not experienced any increase of unreturned or late items. And last up, we have now Glendale Libraries and Culture card holders now have access to Vlume, the world's largest Armenian digital library. The library is excited to be part of Vlume's first ever partnership with a public library. Content is available from 12 different publishers of Armenian language materials from almost 300 classical and modern authors. The ebooks are written for all ages in both Eastern and Western orthographies, and audiobooks are narrated by both Eastern and Western Armenian speakers. The growing collection currently includes over 800 titles and over 1,000 hours of audio content, as well as a new collection of animation videos featuring voiceovers by famous actors. There is no limit on the number of titles individuals can borrow, with this always available collection of materials through this service is made limited to 100 active users at a time. You can download the Vlume app from your Apple or Android devices. And that is what we have for the library report. Agenda item 4, oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not on this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. The commission may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or discussion. The commission may refer the matter to the city staff or investigation and report. Do we have any public comment speakers?
On this specific or?
I don't think we do.
No.
Move to agenda item 5. Agenda item 5, action item A, report on the Art Happens Anywhere first round applications. Motion to approve funding artist proposals for the Art Happens Anywhere program in project budgets ranging from $3,000 to $15,000 from the 2019-2020 work plan. Again, this is Chandra Fukitomi-Jones, Arts and Culture Administrator. So on April 16th, during the regular Arts and Culture Commission meeting, in response to the coronavirus global pandemic and its effects on the arts and culture community, the Commission approved a motion to direct staff to open the Art Happens Anywhere call for artists with project budgets ranging from $3,000 to $15,000 and a total amount not to exceed $100,000 from the 2019-20 work plan. On May 1st, staff released the Art Happens Anywhere call for artists to the Arts and Culture Commission's website. And on May 18th, staff received 100 applications for consideration in the first round of review. On May 21st, 2020, during the regular Arts and Culture Commission, and staff presented the top 10 recommended funding consideration for the first round of applications. The Commission reviewed the proposals and requested additional information from the artists regarding questions for their proposals. So for today, we have actually the top 9 proposal applicants from the first round of applications, and they're going to be plugged in via conference call to refer to their specific proposal. Okay. I believe we have the first. Commissioners, this is proposal number 1. Do we have the speaker?
We do have Ashton Phillips on line 1. I'll go ahead and connect him. Hi, is this Ashton Phillips?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, okay, you're live.
Okay, wonderful. So first, let me just thank everyone so much for inviting me to present my proposal reflections to the Commission today. I'm very honored to be here and grateful for the opportunity to be a part of rethinking how and why art can be experienced in public in the age of COVID-19. Part documentary, part memorial, part walking poetry experience, and part meditative interactive sound art installation. Reflections is a physical and virtual art installation located in an open park space like Glendale Central Park. The virtual sound art component will weave together the voices of a diverse range of Glendale and LA County residents with other voices from quarantined regions around the world, all reflecting on their experiences living through this pandemic. These digital voices will be virtually paired with a physical installation of flat, durable, reflective aluminum discs set into the ground in a mandala pattern, providing a visual marker of the activated space and a meditative environment in which to experience the sound installation. Jennifer has shared some of the Commission's questions with me in advance, which I will address now. First, is the artist familiar with the Sonic Maps technology? Can they ensure that the app doesn't cause overlapping voices and/or confusion for the piece? Yes, I am very familiar with this technology. It's one of several augmented reality applications I've explored as part of my interest in working with virtual sound in real space. I've actually used Sonic Maps to upload a test version of this installation using prototype audio tracks and visited the proposed site to ensure its functionality. I tested the prototype project with 3 different devices at Glendale Central Park and confirmed the expected spatial accuracy, which is within 1 to 2 meters. I've also been in contact with Sonic Maps directly and shared my proposal with them, which they confirmed is feasible and exactly the kind of project this application was designed to support. I'm also experienced in recording and editing sound as an artistic medium. I've studied sound art and technology at the Maryland Institute College of Art and have exhibited sound art as part of my practice. For example, I'm currently one of the featured artists in San Pedro 2020, which is an international juried sound art festival organized by the Sound Art Collective Flood and hosted by the Angels Gate Cultural Center in San Pedro. The next question, what would be the proposed timeline for installing the piece? I would propose 9 weeks from the date of approval, including 8 weeks for the development of audio content and securing materials, and 1 week for on-site installation, including signage and the ground sculpture component of the project. So depending on the approval timeline, I would propose a delivery date between August 15th and September 1st. The next question is, how long would the artist envision that the piece be exhibited? So I proposed that this installation would be on view for 3 months, thinking that a longer one would be preferable in the time of social distancing, but that could be shortened or extended based on the circumstances and the commission's preferences. In case Central Park is not available, is there another location that the artist would propose for the exhibit? I'm happy to work with the city to identify another appropriate location if desired. I would recommend that the installation be put in a pedestrian-friendly zone like a park to allow participants to fully engage in the experience of walking and listening without needing to navigate around large obstacles or worry about vehicular traffic. What are the maintenance aspects of the exhibit? What if the discs are vandalized or stolen? Since the exhibit is outdoors, are there any concerns for security? So I've included a line item in the budget for weekly cleaning of the discs with a simple leaf blower and vacuum. Based on my visit to the proposed site and the duration of the proposed exhibit, this should be all that's necessary for maintenance. I've also included a line item in the budget for replacement discs in the event of vandalism or damage or theft. That said, because of the way that the discs will be installed, I do not anticipate a high chance of theft. The discs will be fitted into a shallow shaped hole in the ground, so a person would not be able to simply pick them up. Someone would need a special tool like a crowbar to dig out the earth around the disc and pry it out of its seat. Because the sound component is experienced virtually and participants will be using their own devices to experience the sound installation, there's no physical material relating to the sound component that could be vandalized or stolen. And lastly, could the artist create signage or guidelines informing attendees on how to participate or engage with the exhibit? Yes, I want to ensure that the installation is accessible and user-friendly. I've included a line item for signage in the budget, including one, a tall feather-shaped sign that will be visible from the road and at a distance. 2, a wooden sign that will contain a visual map indicating where in the park viewers will find the sound zones, the URL to the unique website that hosts the sound experience, and a QR code that could be scanned in lieu of typing in the URL. Reminders for social distancing guidelines will also be included on this sign. In addition, I've included a line item for floor decals that could be placed at each pedestrian entrance to the park and include the title of the work, the web URL, and a QR code. So that concludes the questions that were provided to me, but I'm happy to take any additional questions you may have, and I want to close by thanking you again for the opportunity to present this proposal.
Thank you, Ashton. Just for a time call, we have the 5-minute allocated. I'm going to put on 2 additional minutes for the commission to ask any additional questions and for closing remarks.
Commissioner Oshagan?
No questions.
Okay. Commissioner Vyar?
No questions.
Commissioner Vidor?
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Ashton. No questions.
Yes, I would have to actually agree with all 3 commissioners that this is a great art piece and it exemplifies everything that we are looking for, so we can go ahead and move forward. Thank you so much for calling in and answering all our questions. Thank you.
I believe we have caller number 2 for the proposal number 2. I'm going to put that on the screen now.
So we have proposal number 2, Ayumi Chizom.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, you're live.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to be a part of this process. Super excited and appreciate all the support and everything. My proposal is for a mural installation entitled, tentatively so far, still entitled Yoshito Meditating. The medium is acrylic. Well, the medium may change as well. I'm also reading my my proposal statement here, and we'll address certain changes here. The concept of my 3-year-old son meditating, of course, to highlight the isolation of social distancing, but also to give creative positive mental awareness, meditating to reduce anxiety, still the mind, and the importance of breathing fresh air while experiencing nature. Yoshito, my wife and I, residents of the 8121 building, which my proposal was originally intended for. ACE has declined the mural, but the adjacent space, the adjacent building next to the H121 building, the YMCA has approved acceptance of painting the mural on their building. So it changes a little bit. The size, of course, is not as tall. It's more of a square now, and it doesn't have the windows or anything breaking up the composition of the painting itself. It will be directly painted onto the surface. Right now, I'm still looking at different materials because I was intending to use acrylics and spray paint on the H121 building, which is already a painted building. The YMCA building is a brick surface, so I have to use a different type of paint, a mineral silicate. But it's a higher quality paint. It definitely lasts way longer than the acrylic in terms of light fastness and fading and all that stuff, and weatherability. Let's see what else. Yes, YMCA approved, direct application, and I have a long mural history of painting murals since 1983. I travel all over the place. I have 2 other mural projects in Cleveland this year, and that's basically my spiel.
Thank you so much. We can go ahead and get started with Commissioner questions. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yeah, I want to. Is this a temporary mural, or is this going to be, or what's the expected lifespan for this?
No, it's a permanent mural. Typically, with acrylic paints or spray paints, you would have a 10 to 15 year, maybe up to 20 year lifespan. The type of paint that I'm using is a very expensive mineral silicate, which is guaranteed up to 140 years.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bayar?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Actually, I think this mural looks quite lovely on the YMCA building, and it's interesting with the surface of the building being what it is, so I certainly support that. I have a question about the composition of the mural itself. On the boy's head, you have the reflection of the sun, and in the middle of his head, the top of his hair, the crown of his head, you have obviously his hair is reflecting light in a certain way that the hair appears darker than the hair around it. Is that particular color brown the same color as the tree that is rising up behind his head, or is it a different color to differentiate his head from the tree?
It's a different color.
Oh, okay.
It's
Thank
hard
you.
to see in
In the drawing? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the perspective of the tree in back of the head, and I wanted to make sure I understood what the composition was. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to, this is Chair Zadorian, tell you that I love this piece. I just had one question. Which part of the YMCA wall is this? What street is it facing? Just so I can get a visual.
It's in the parking lot.
Oh, okay. So on the
it's a
parking lot.
north-facing wall in the parking lot.
Okay. I know which side
on
that
the
is.
Louise side.
So you
But
would
it's near the
see it
entrance.
driving only one way.
Excuse me?
You would only see if you were driving one way because it's in the parking lot on the side, correct?
Yeah, it's only
Okay.
viewable from, well, if you're in the parking lot, of course, but from Louise.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We can go ahead and move forward. We have no more questions. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
calling in
thank
and
you.
answering all our questions.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We have the next proposal, number 3,
Okay.
which is actually number 4 in our guide here.
Okay. Okay. We have Ben Evans on the line. You are live.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. Thank you. again, everybody, for allowing all of us artists who have been selected in this first round to revisit these proposals and provide you with some more details on this. I'm calling in on behalf of myself and fellow artist Alki Sajandreou. This project, The Ignorant Tour Guides, was begun by both of us in 2011 in a small city in Germany, and it was since then produced in Paris, and as well was part of a group exhibition in the European Capital of Culture in Cyprus in 2017. And our proposal for Glendale is to, which we do for each site, is to provide or create a custom-made audio guide of the city. So I watched the proposal from last month's meeting, and I wanted to just give you a little bit more detail because I think there's a little bit of confusion about at which point a guide becomes art. And this project was birthed out of the idea that most city guides are created with a set of arbitrary landmarks that the participant or the tourist or whoever's taking the guide sort of walks through between each landmark. And we realized that in doing so, the normal city guide ignores the actual physical experience of traveling through a city. And so the very basic premise of the guide is to create a guide that is a more poetic approach of navigating the city. And the basic premise of the guide is that it has no destination. So it has a starting point, which in this case we imagine to be the library, the central library. So if you imagine you would download this guide online, I would assume it'd be sort of on the commission's website, or we can talk with you about how to make that available. You can stream the guide, you can download it onto your device. You go to the library, you pick up a booklet, and the booklet, all it is a collection of images. And as you take the walk, you'll recognize some of these images. Some of them will overlap. You'll turn to that page as you're actually walking by that site. Some of them you'll see and you might actually never see on the walk, as there's no actual destination. So this book serves as a quote-unquote map, but just as the guide offers no destination, the booklet offers no real destination either in its images. So you begin to walk, you turn on the guide, and you might hear something like this. What do you see? What do you hear? Birds? The wind? Where do you go if you trace the contours of what you see? Is someone watching you? What is that in the distance? What would this world look like in black and white? Do you see a reflection? Are you comfortable? When was the last time you were outside of the city, any city? Have you ever ridden a horse? What color was it? When was the last time you flew in an airplane? So this series of questions continues, and the guide lasts anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the city that we're in. So this guide is meant to be, as I said, a more poetic navigation of the city. And as you sort of open yourself up to the guide, it becomes almost a dreamy, meditative, the city itself becomes almost a dreamy, meditative landscape where you perceive it through anew if you're a resident of Glendale, and if you're someone who comes to Glendale to take the walk, it's really a way of discovering the city on foot, starting from point zero, really. So I want to respond to some of the questions that you had. I hope that description answered some of them. How does the artist determine the number of locations and which locations for the guide? So, as I said, the very basis of the guide is that it does not point out specific locations. So it's not going to be a city guide for the city of Glendale that's pointing out important landmarks. It's intended to be a very open perception of the city for each person who does it. where does the audio recording live on the internet? How is it downloadable? So we imagine we would negotiate with you about where and how you would want to make this downloadable. We see this as, the commission would actually commission this project. So the guide would be available, online on your website or through the library's website. And that would be made available indefinitely for as long as you want to make it available. What is the lifetime of the audio guide? And can more locations be added? I'm hoping that the description answered that question. Could there be a title reconsideration from the artist? So this I think is a good question. I understand that the title is provocative. We actually grabbed the title from a text of a French philosopher who wrote a text called The Ignorant Schoolmaster, which basically posits that the best teachers, or the teachers that everybody should aspire to, are those who don't purport to know any more than their students. And so this idea of the ignorant tour guides is that the guide is made through a certain lens of being ignorant about the city in order to allow those taking the guide to discover it on their own. So it really shifts what we think about giving direction, about, as I said, the selection of arbitrary landmarks to follow in a city. So in this sense, we see ignorance as a positive thing. And I believe that was all the questions. There wasn't one on here, but I did watch the meeting last week, and someone did have a question about the booklets. And the idea of the booklets is that it's important for both of us that the experience is not mediated through technology, let's say. So we imagine if the images, for example, were digital on your phone, that's less time for you to spend looking at where you are in the city, for example. So we imagined in the budget that we would print 500 booklets. And we also understand that, eventually in sort of the long-term life of the project, eventually these images may need to be moved to a digital format, which would be very easy for us to do. But for the moment, we'd like to start with the idea of sort of 500 commemorative first edition booklets. Each booklet would be collected at the library. Each person doing the walk would be able to take the booklet with them. And when those run out, I think we could then discuss how to then move the images into a digital format or reprint booklets if we would like. That's all I have to say at this point. Thank you.
And I think we've hit our allocated time. So, Chair Zadorian.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
No, it's okay. Thank
Just
you.
wanted to give a time check. Chair Zadorian, I don't know if you wanted to offer questions from the commission.
Okay, yeah, let's just go through the questions. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes, very quickly. I really appreciate your presentation, Ben, and I appreciate sort of the open-ended tour guide concept that we didn't really understand last time around. A quick question about the technology. So is it essentially a audio track that's downloaded and you essentially are listening to this audio track as you walk? There's no interaction with the technology itself. Is that correct?
That's correct. The audio file itself would be sort of, a 1 hour track that doesn't stop. So the user would sort of push play and, listen until it ends.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner
Thank you.
Vyar?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for coming and answering questions. I still have one more question in terms of envisioning what people would be doing. I looked up the word tour, and the definition, at least on the internet, is a journey for pleasure in which several different places are visited. So the questions that are being posed are very kind of provocative and conceptual and interesting, and it certainly isn't like your standard, here's this landmark or that landmark, and that makes it a very interesting concept. But how do you propel people forward? And, would it end up that somebody would just stand there and listen to the questions, or are people going to be instructed to move, or, how does it become a tour in the sense of advancing from place to place?
Yeah, that's a good question. Over the course of the series of questions, we really play with these sort of more meditative or memory-based questions, as well as questions that are directly about geography. You know, we might say, would you like to turn right or left here? Or how quickly are you walking? Or what do you think is behind that window of that building? So there's a suggestion that there is movement through the city. Often in the beginning of the guide, we inject questions like, are you moving yet? Or things to sort of gently suggest that it is meant to be a walking guide. You know, we can also simply, if the commission wants to make a page where you download the audio file, we can also do a very brief description, you know, that would suggest to people that it is a walking tour of Glendale.
Yeah, a walking tour where you decide what your direction is going to be, right?
Yeah, and that becomes, you know, in one of the versions, one of the first questions was, what if we decide that there's no destination for this walk? You know, so then it becomes very clear that the user, the participant themselves, get to just wander the city as they like.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be helpful to have people get a basic understanding right at the beginning of, you know, there's no destination, there's no instructions on what direction you're to take. It's up to you. Just move or something, so that people are clear about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any other questions?
No, thank you, Ben.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I did have a question or several. So how would you be marketing this? I know that the booklets would be available at the library. What I'm trying to understand is, how are you going to get people passing by or people in the city of Glendale to come and want to take the tour? What is the attraction, and how are you going to attract people?
Yeah, that is a good question, and that is something that I was also curious to speak with the commission about, in terms of, I think that would tie in to how we make it available to people. So if it is, you know, I don't know if you're planning on launching sort of a website around AHA, you know, that would be one way that people get to it. I think if it is based at the library, you know, we can also put up a sign like ask at the front desk about the tour. I don't know if the city would also want to link to it as it is an art project and not an actual city commissioned guide. But I'm imagining any number of sort of cross-referencing, mostly online based as it is downloadable from online. But I would be happy to think about that with all of you as you launch this project, how we can market it best.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question is, so do you have the photos available for the booklet, or is this something that's included in the budget for you to take photographs of different images of Glendale?
This is something that's included in the budget. We take new photos for every project once the project begins. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for answering all of our questions.
I think there was one additional
Thank you for all your patience and your time.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Ben. I think there was one additional question. Does the audio tour include sound effects?
No, it does not.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Deborah Asheim. I'm not sure if I said your name correctly, so please correct me. Hi, Deborah. You're on the line. Deborah? Okay. She may not be on the line, so please call back.
Can you guys hear me? I'm going to switch to a different phone. Sorry, I was using a... Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're on the line.
Okay, it's Deborah Asheim.
Oh,
yeah, thank you very much. I want to thank you guys a lot for this opportunity to go deeper into the project, and also in my case, I followed up on your excellent suggestion to develop the project more in conversation with Angie and the county clerk's office, and so I'd like to revise a little bit how I want to describe the project to you, because I think it's developed a little bit further. But first, I just want to explain a little bit about my practice. I'm primarily a public artist, and a lot of what I do for a living is make very large permanent and sometimes temporary things for cities and counties and city and county buildings. But for the past year, and in all of my projects, I have a very intense part that has to do with community engagement. I would say that the social practice part of my artwork, which has to do with being an artist, often working in non-art government institutions and trying to connect people with city government or with other buildings, or trying to interact with people, is as important as the physical things that I make. So, for example, I just completed a really large installation for the new Santa Monica fire station, but one of the most important parts of that project was I was actually the artist in residence for the fire department for the past 4 years, going on ride-alongs with them and learning more about the stresses and satisfactions of their job. And we're actually going to make a 100-page book that we're distributing to the residents of Santa Monica for free as a result of that experience. So for the past year, I was the artist in residence at the LA County Registrar, Recorder, County Clerk, which was a program that was created under the Board of Supervisors Equity and Inclusion Initiative. And so the most important part of my job was to try to make a really deep and personal connection with historically underrepresented communities of voters, to hear their stories and to share them, to bring them into voting, but also to help open up a conversation about what kind of change and what kind of participation in democracy can happen through voting. This is the project that I want to propose for Glendale. So originally this was an in-person engagement project, and when the shutdown happened, my biggest concern was how do we stay connected, and how can we stay connected to our cities and to LA County when when we can't do events anymore, we can't physically engage. And I was participating in lots of Zoom conversations and talking to schools and other people I'd been working with, and it seemed like people were turning a lot to social media for this. So what I want to propose for Glendale is a social media project primarily, and it's mostly accessed, it's an Instagram project, and it's accessed through your phone. But more importantly than the format or the form that it takes is it's a way for Glendale residents to still connect, to connect with me, to connect with the city, and to connect with each other. So what I do for this project is I have people send me headshots of themselves and a narrative, a story about why voting is important to them, and I turn them into a drawing, which they then share with other people. And people I've been doing this project with get very excited to see themselves as they've probably never been drawn by an artist before. If they ask me to, I send them a signed print of the drawing, but the really great thing is that they then share it out on their social media, and it starts this larger conversation. And in an age where we can't have events, I think it helps with some of the isolation. For me, it's definitely helped a lot because I'm still meeting people and connecting with them and letting them know that it's really important, giving them a positive space to participate civically, especially around the election. And in my old job, I got to go to Glendale City Council meetings, and I know you have a really engaged and animated and energized electorate, because I've gone to your city council meetings that often last until 1 or 2 in the morning, and they can even be quite contentious. And so I want to provide a positive platform where people can inspire each other, particularly with equity and inclusion targets, so that people from communities that might be historically underrepresented, and I know these are important communities too, because I know you began this meeting, with a shout out to the LGBTQ community and to the diverse coalition of people who have been energized in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. And all of these voices, I think, can come together around voting as a positive way to make social change. And so that's really what's important to me about the project, is to create a platform where I'm engaging with people as an artist by drawing them, but also sharing them in a way that they can repost and that they can connect. So the part I wanted to revise about my proposal is I'd actually like to take an opportunity to be
This is a 5-minute warning. We have 2 additional minutes on the clock.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to propose to be a little bit like a mini artist in residence for the county clerks and help them with doing any projects that we can think of that will help connect people with the city and with voting. Social media would be the main thing. The things that we discussed in the in your previous meeting, those are sort of side products of, like if I do posters and postcards, those are just things I easily know how to do, and I've done them a lot, and there's enough money that we could maybe supplement the project with them, but the social media part is the most important part, and the connectivity is the most important part. I hope that explains it a little better.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. So we can go ahead and move forward to questions by the commissioners. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yeah, I just want to say that this is a good direction to go with this project. A lot of the projects that we received had sort of ambiguous kind of end products, and this one including, because postcards and posters is not very clear how that's going to. So I think taking this purely as a social media platform and focusing in that direction, I think is a really good idea.
Thank you so much. One thing I wanted to mention, too, is in the budget I included for a designer to help me make a website so that it could be a permanent archive of, all the diverse faces of Glendale. And that also, since I do make physical drawings, I don't just draw on the computer, we could curate exhibitions out of the physical drawings. So it's almost like an archive or a resource that could be used to create other projects after the fact, in addition to the social media project. That's how I meant to explain the postcards, and I'm sorry if I didn't do a good job with it in my proposal originally.
Thank you.
20 seconds.
Okay, Commissioner Vier?
No question, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yeah, thank you very much. Really great, really interesting. In thinking about Glendale and our diverse communities, of course, it is a big city physically as well as population-wise and quite diverse. And social media certainly is a great way to go with this, and I appreciate your well-defined explanation of what you're planning to do. But I think in this age of isolation especially, it might be good to have some physical reminders or kind of like pokes in the side for people to get on Instagram, to engage, because everybody's very put upon with a lot of demands on them with social media. And so some kind of supplementary thing to grab the attention of everybody, even people who aren't normally on Instagram, if that's your only social platform, who would get on and maybe engage more on Instagram. That might be good to add that. So I wouldn't necessarily, in this particular situation we're in, want to completely abandon the physical postering idea. Maybe there could be some, something added. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I would like to develop. And the reason I propose posters and postcards is I've done them before. Like I did a big poster project for the bus stops in Pasadena. So I just had all the, vendors and everything in place in order to do that quickly. But given more time, we could develop other things. I know that the city clerk's office is eager to coordinate with me, so we could use all of their resources to reach out. And then I also was planning to reach out to faith-based leaders, to high schools, because high schools have a big Get Out the Vote program, to senior centers, and to Glendale College. So I'm really good at that kind of organizing. But the posters and postcards, honestly, I was mostly thinking that those would be good for reaching seniors who maybe don't already use Instagram, or for people who don't have access to computers, and it could give them information about voting at the same time as it was giving them the address or the social media handle for them to access my project.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. I accept your answer. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So in the interest of time, I do want to wrap up. I did want to make one recommendation. So for me, I understand social media definitely in this day and age that is the better option. However, I do think that if we are trying to engage voters and everyday residents of Glendale who might not have access to Instagram or don't have an Instagram, or definitely over the age that most people would be using social media, or specifically Instagram, why would you be willing to create posters that would be posted around the city on, let's say, city buildings? This is something we'd obviously have to discuss with city staff, but rather than just be social media, it's something that you would take over kind of like the Glendale or Library Arts and Culture Instagram, and you'd be posting from there. So our viewers and Glendale city residents would be the ones viewing, rather than whoever is following your Instagram from different counties and cities. And two, if you did post it on large size posters, if you could have the names of the voters and the information on each one, and the information they sent you about themselves. So as people walk along strolling through Glendale, they can see these and they know that it's titled 365 Days of Voters, and they can read information on these voters. Is that something that you would be willing to do rather than just social media?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the budget I propose $5,000 or $6,000, and so I think that's generous enough to do multiple things.
Okay.
I think of it as a resource that we could curate and develop other projects out of. Like, for example, I know that this year is the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. So if we wanted to have a special thematic poster or exhibition in a public space, for example, the library, the Reflex space in the Central Library or something, we could choose diverse Glendale women, to just celebrate that. Or
Okay, so
during
you are
Pride
flexible.
Pride Month, we could, choose people that gave a shout out to LGBTQ community. So it's definitely like a very flexible archive for physical projects at the same time as it's a social media project. I also included in my budget to create a website that can make a permanent home for it, because who knows what happens to Instagram after 5 or 10 years, and that could continue to grow after the election and could even include video or other content if people wanted to tell their stories in a different format.
Okay.
So it's a little flexible. The most important part is a two-way street of communication where Glendale residents get to communicate back. And I'm hoping Glendale, even though it's a big city, if I draw enough people, people might see people that they know and they might say, oh, I know these are real people because I know that one person or
Deborah,
that's somebody,
I apologize. We're going to have to wrap up. We're going a little bit behind schedule, so
sorry.
thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much for
thank you so
answering
much
our
for the
questions.
chance to explain my project more and for your excellent questions.
Thank
Thanks a lot.
you.
Bye.
Okay, who is next? Okay, so we have Eric on line 5.
Hello.
Hi, you're live.
Hi there.
Hi.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. First off, I wanted to say that I'm honored and excited to be considered for this in the city where I've lived 20 years. My project, listening to the other artists, seems a little more traditional in nature than some of the open-ended ones, but I think it's a way of dealing with situations and experiences that we have in our city. My project is called I Am Small Business, the Glendale edition, as it were. It's an immersive virtual experience that can be viewed from any connected device. Given the COVID situation, I was coming up with ways that are alternates to actually having a show in the library per se, and I figured that going virtual with it is probably the best way of handling that. It's portraits of small business owners taken in their shops and overlaid with audio and interviews, the kind of the sights and sounds that you would experience when you're in the store, possibly interactions with customers, the sounds outside, this kind of thing. And my process in these photographs, I take anywhere between 800 and 1,000 images to create the photographs, and then I overlay them so that everything is in focus and everything is super sharp. And when you zoom into it, and for that, I can go into the website kind of stuff a little bit later, but you can zoom in at 100% since they're native, like 5 to 12 feet wide. You can see everything, like all of the things in the shop and all of the things. Just, you almost feel like you're in the shop, and that's really what the feeling and the vibe I want to create with these is. It's an archive of small businesses, which not just in our city, but in general have been hit really hard due to the COVID and rising rents and some of the protests, the looting and the vandalism that fortunately didn't happen in our city. But I'm about raising awareness of small neighborhood businesses and the relation between the neighborhoods and their businesses. And small businesses can be such a vital part of a neighborhood. And I feel that by showing different businesses and different diverse groups of people that run the businesses in our city, it can open up a dialogue and an interaction and a conversation with the citizens who live in the city. And I think that's a really important aspect of who we are as citizens of Glendale. And so I had a discussion with Jennifer, and she went over some questions that you guys have about the project, and one of them was, where would it live? Would it live on my website or a standalone website or the City of Glendale's website? When I spoke with my web developer, It's my understanding that the website where it is contained needs to be, we have to have a couple special features and functions that they can do, so it has to be kind of like a Squarespace website. So I propose that it would be its own website, and we could link to it from the City of Glendale site, but in my budget, I have for a year of hosting and domain name and all that included. If you guys wanted to extend that to, say, 5 years, I have costs. I can break that down and share with you. As far as diversity goes, it's core to my project to show the diverse nature of Glendale and businesses and citizens of our city. It's something I take great pride in, that I live in a diverse city, and so that's part of my thing as an artist, is to show that. Also, how do I choose my businesses? Basically, that's my process. Is I go and I walk the neighborhoods, and I walk into the stores, and I talk with people, and I meet them, and I basically explain what I'm doing and ask if they would be willing to do it. And so when I went in Highland Park and did this over the course of the last year, it really is representational of who the businesses are that are there, and if they're just willing to do it. Basically, it really comes down to the edit. My goal is to show diversity, and so I will be going into the different neighborhood business districts of Glendale and trying to capture snapshots of who is in the different neighborhoods and stores that people go to and visit, and people that are involved and engaged in our city. So that's kind of it. I'm open to questions if anyone has any.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Oshokan?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vyar?
Yes, I have questions. I love this because I think that the business mind isn't always connected to the artistic mind, and I really like that you're making this connection. The sample that you submitted is of a business that actually is in and of itself art, and I'm wondering what other businesses you might have in mind, although I understand that you'll figure this out as you walk the neighborhoods. But are there some that that you have done in the past that really maybe didn't think about art as a supportive segment, the art world supporting their business, and that this would maybe not just raise awareness of the business in the neighborhoods or in our city, but raise the businesses' awareness of art in our city?
That's an interesting take. The photograph in the sample was actually photographed here in Glendale. It's Metzler's Violins down on Central. The owner was awesome, very friendly. And I understand businesses that are more artistic in nature. Is that what you're referring to?
No, what I'm asking is, what would you have in mind of a business that is not artistic in nature, and that being approached by an artist would be something new to the business, and that might raise its awareness of art?
That's an interesting one. I've approached many businesses, and I think just different ones. Just from, I went originally because I lived near Montrose, and I went and door to door, kind of explaining what I was doing, kind of on my own, a year and a half ago, and some people are open to it, and some people aren't, and it's just kind of, it's you get kind of what you get. It's really kind of, I guess, just my approach to go and have discussions with people and kind of see, try and get the gist of it and figure it out. I really like to show businesses that, in a way, maybe aren't considered artistic. Maybe, your corner grocer, or maybe a water store, or perhaps, there are businesses that are iconic in a neighborhood, maybe something like a Phase up in Montrose, or a shoe repair person, or, different businesses around the city, and it really is. I may have an eye for something that I see, and I may walk in. They may say no, but I may go next door to somebody who sells plumbing supplies, and they may be open to it, and it's kind of luck of the draw, which is why I was aiming to shoot more and then edit it down to 5 to 10 throughout the process of it all. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yes, it does. I understand your approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, I assume that you're going to, I know Metzler, and it's a wonderful business to select, and I'm sure you're going to get a nice diverse range of small businesses. I would like to see, kind of on the practical side, perhaps some kind of an explanation of this as an art project in each of the businesses. Now, I don't know if these businesses are going to be open. I know Metzler's open, and now small businesses are beginning to open. But if you could, if you walked into Metzler, for instance, and you saw a little poster that said, this is part of the I Am Small Business art project, to kind of tie each of the businesses participating with the fact that they're part of an art project. That might also help to kind of marry the concept of this as a work of art to the fact that you're promoting the small businesses in Glendale, or at least calling attention to them. So would that be possible to do something like that, to kind of join them together as identified as part of an art project?
That's a fantastic idea. Yes.
Great. Thank you. Nice project. Love it.
Thank you. I do not have any questions for you, so thank you so much for calling in and answering all of our questions and concerns.
Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so we don't have 6, correct?
6 is last, so I think we go to line 1.
Okay.
We're going to skip commissioners. We're going to go to proposal number 7. So line 1, Scott Oshima.
Hi, Scott, you're on the line.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Yes, you can go ahead and get started.
I'll let Ben introduce herself first, and then I'll go.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been so wonderful to hear about all the other projects. My name is Zen Sekizawa. I am half of Manoya. We are a custom object art and furniture shop that represents a collaboration between myself and artist Mario Correa. We are especially inspired by Mexican and Japanese cultural traditions in this field. We are also looking forward to once again partnering with JACCC on another incredible community project. I'll let Scott introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Scott Oshima. I am the Sustainable Little Tokyo Program Director at the Japanese American Cultural and Community Center here in Little Tokyo, Los Angeles. And we are partnering with Manoya. We've been doing work with Zen and Mario since 2017. And we are a hub for Japanese and Japanese American arts and culture across Southern California, but also the broader Asian American Pacific Islander communities. We have extensive experience managing community-driven art projects like this. Already have a very wide community network. We've been doing online workshops, delivering art kits to kids around the city. So we'll be here providing both support and managing the project and cultural consultation and dealing with community outreach. And we are very excited for this opportunity. So thank you so much for accepting us into the next round. So I'll pass it back to Zen to do a little intro of the project, and then we'll answer some of the questions.
Yeah, just a quick overview. Our Mikoshi will imagine and create a site-specific Mikoshi, a contemporary take on a Shinto mini shrine, and a Matsuri festival with the dance, chant, and happy coats. The Mikoshi represents the broader Nikkei, or Japanese American community greater in Los Angeles. In greater Los Angeles, and as well as our diverse communities across the region of all ages and backgrounds. The artwork and performances will be developed through an online and offline community engagements during shelter in place with over 50 community members, including 2 community workshops and a series of dance workshops and a ton of offline opportunities. I'll pass it back to Scott to address some of the questions.
Sure. So thank you. Jennifer shared some of the questions we had about the partnerships in Glendale. So we, yes, have reached out to both Mike Belzer at the Friends of Shoseon and Aya Taylor with Black Japanese Immersion Schools. So Michael, we have a meeting to talk about logistics on Monday, hoping that this this conversation goes well. And Aya is currently speaking with the principals of the various schools within the FLAG program to see if they were interested or how it might work into their shelter-in-place plan. We, in terms of the timeline, and sorry, actually, we also wanted to say that we are really excited about this chance to connect with Glendale, which we recognize has a very large Asian American Pacific Islander community, and to use this as an opportunity to really to bridge with communities, especially in this moment of isolation and conflict. This would be a chance to do, workshops, hands-on, really engaging and fun art workshops while we're all sheltering in place, and then hopefully in the new year we can come together and celebrate our communities in person, we hope. In terms of the timeline, we did want to get this in the first round because this project is very community forward, and it's really dependent on the thorough community engagement and the development actually of the artwork. And so the workshops, we really want to make the proper partnerships to reach folks in Glendale, to reach the Japanese American communities across LA, to get folks to participate, and that requires planning. And we are really excited to, there aren't very many opportunities to make art while we're stuck at home, and so we hope that this, the workshops can be really fun in this moment. What we had in the proposal was that this community engagement would kick off in September. That was somewhat dependent just on when we received the funding. We saw some dates saying potentially August. We weren't entirely sure, but we would basically begin outreach and building the partnerships immediately, and that we could hold the workshops beginning either in August or September would be sort of the aim. And we do, again, really see the workshops as a major component of the artwork. And I believe those were the questions. We did hear also some questions around social distancing. So the plan is, if we are still social distancing next year, that we would exhibit the sculpture, the Mikoshi, and all of its elements in windows or displays in partnership with other organizations, and that we would do the performance, but we would have it live streamed so that people could still see and participate, but not be in person together.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move forward to Commissioner questions. Just so you guys know, we've already passed the 5-minute mark. So, Commissioner Oshagan?
Great.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I think it's really great that the relationship in Glendale with the overall Asian community is really important for us. But I wanted to ask specifically about some of the workshops you're planning, because my experience, these online workshops that I've seen are really not very satisfying, and really it seems like you are very much community engaged kind of organization and artists, and the whole plan is very community related. And so, I mean, unless you have very specific types of workshops that you're doing, and if you could explain to us a little bit more in detail what you plan to do, it may make more sense to wait a little bit longer when there's going to be actual community engagement, because this is, I think, a very important kind of arts and community engagement plan that we should have in Glendale.
Sure. So the workshops, Mario Zen and I talked through are two parts. The first part is really coming up with the sort of themes and the different parts of the Mikoshi. There are traditional elements that we would want to hear from community, like how would you imagine a version of the phoenix on the top of the Mikoshi, as an example. We would also have an offline version, which is a worksheet that's kind of like a coloring page where people can actually draw in, what they would want to do, and then mail it back to us. So those are the two options for the first one. The second one is the more hands-on one. So they're both hands-on, but the second one, the folks that participate and sign up will actually drop off either mail or drop off an art kit of clay and other hands-on molding materials, so that they can actually create with us some of the elements that will then be translated into woodwork by Mario and Zen. And we for us, I mean, we've been really adjusting to try to find ways of continuing art programs during shelter-in-place that are hands-on. And so, I think we really feel that this was an important response to a need from community, the need that we've been hearing from our community members for these kinds of workshops. And they've been pretty successful, actually, from what we've been doing in the last couple months. Thank you.
Just a quick time check. We've hit the 7-minute mark, so if commissioners have questions, they can address them relatively quickly.
Okay. Commissioner Byer?
No, thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yeah, I was under the impression last time that we were, that this was going to be kind of something that would be in real time live, and that the potential to have it be hosted, of course, sponsored by the commission, but hosted by the Friends of Socheon at the venue of the Japanese Tea House and Garden was the way we were going to go. So that's my understanding of the project, and I agree with my fellow Commissioner Oshigan on some concerns about this because we're quite overloaded with a lot of online things here. That's my comment.
Thank you. I do not have any questions, so I would like to thank you for calling in. We can always discuss this at the end, but thank you so much for calling and answering all our questions.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You can go to line 3.
Okay. Hi, is this Mark?
It is.
Hi,
Can you
you're
hear me?
live. Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Thank you all for having me here. I'm Mark Lowe. The project is With Love from LA. With Love from LA is a 6-month series of online live streams exploring themes of culture, identity, and holistic wellness by spotlighting a diverse range of world-class LA creative professionals to audiences in LA County, throughout the country, and around the world. Each month we'll be focusing on one solo or duo musical artist featured on 2 live streams each. Firstly, in conversation about their work and how they tie creativity in with community and wellness. And secondly, a live stream virtual performance broadcast from the artist's own place of residence out to the world. So With Love from LA is a free access offering which anyone with an internet connection and computer or smart device will be able to access. The primary motivation to focus this inaugural 6-month series on LA County musicians specifically is also to provide financial support to these creative professionals whose livelihoods have been decimated by the lockdown, with no foreseeable allowing of live shows to resume or idea of what they may look like when they do. The series will be supported with tech operators, online promotions, and social media support, engaging audiences and community at large. There were 2 questions that Jennifer shared with me, which I'd like to speak on. The first was about the quality and consistency of the live streams. The single biggest problem with most live streams is the use of Wi-Fi for internet broadcast. This is not an option for any professional broadcast. So subsequently, With Love from LA will be using hardwired Ethernet for all performances. The second issue most live streams stumble at is failing to do adequate audio, video, and broadcast tests before live transmissions. All performances for us will be subject to comprehensive tests before their broadcast, with enough time in hand to remedy any unexpected issues. I have extensive experience with live stream broadcasts. Every performance live stream will be teched by myself or another qualified tech who I will personally have vetted. The tech kit for all performances will be consistent. It's a 4K HD camcorder, 3 HD GoPro cameras, a professional-grade HD video mixer, and 3 adjustable light rigs. Audio will be mixed for broadcast and maintained at consistent quality and volumes throughout. The second question was about the connection to Glendale, and I appreciate that question. So at the time of submitting the application, I wasn't able to reach 2 specific artists that I had in mind to include, but have since then been able to confirm their involvement With Love from LA. Artyom Manukian and Vardan Ovsepian are 2 they're world-class musicians, Armenian immigrants, and longtime residents of Glendale. And also the city of Glendale will be acknowledged in all press releases, promo materials, and in the closing credits of each live stream. I welcome appropriate logos from the supporting organizations to be included. And I'd also like to invite the chair or another commission member to pre-record a short welcome message that could be broadcast at the top of each performance live stream. I mean, this project would not be able to proceed without your support, and it's important that this is acknowledged in real time as the project takes wings. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We can go ahead and move forward to questions.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you to Mark with due to his experience and his caliber that we're really excited that he applied to AHA.
Yes, thank you very much. So we can go with Commissioner Oshagan. Did you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Commissioner Vire?
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Vidor?
No questions. I wasn't clear on whether can you confirm the musicians from Glendale are going to be able to participate?
Yes, they have confirmed. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay. No other questions.
I agree. This is impeccable, and the fact that you answered everything perfectly, and you did a great job in your presentation to cover all grounds, and I love it. Thank you very much for calling and answering all our questions. I really look forward to this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
You can go to line 2.
Okay. Line 2, we have Natalie Kamajian. You're live.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie, and I'm here with Armenian as well. Thanks so much for having us. So we are both PhD students at UCLA. Armen is in ethnomusicology, and I'm in culture and performance. We are co-directors of Lernazang Ensemble, which we co-founded in 2017. We teach weekly classes and perform traditional Armenian music and dance in Glendale and the greater LA area, which we were doing much more of prior to COVID-19. For this project, we were particularly inspired by the outdoor concerts we were seeing in apartment courtyards and communities in Italy, for example, during the height of the COVID outbreak, and we wanted to offer a similar cultural service to our Glendale community, especially for those who are marginalized and those who are most impacted by the pandemic. And so we chose 3 communities. We chose a hospital, an elderly home, and also an affordable housing unit. So this grant will really help us to provide completely self-managed concerts for these communities at a safe distance. And then I will go ahead and go through some of the questions that were posed. So in terms of logistics, the audience, there was a question about the audience. So we certainly imagined that the audience would be, everyone, so not just patients and residents of different facilities, but also their workers and employees. As far as the locations, we have been in touch with 3 specific locations in Glendale. The first one is Casa de la Paloma, which is an affordable senior housing unit. And we spoke to them, and they are certainly open to us doing it once restrictions are lifted. As we sort of, after speaking with Jennifer, we sort of posed both options, since you all were sort of proposing a postponement, and we feel good about that too. So we just gave them both options. We also spoke to Leisure Glen, which is an elderly rehabilitation center, and they're opening their facility to the public starting July 1st. So they're certainly interested, and we're in close contact with them. And the third place was Glendale Adventist Hospital. And this was the most difficult place to sort of get a clear answer from. I was sort of handed off several times, and I'm honestly just under the impression that they're very overwhelmed, naturally, given the pandemic. So those are the 3 initial locations that we had in mind. And the rest of the questions were pretty much about the budget. So one major question was the amount and how the money was being spent. So these concerts would be pretty much 100% self-managed by us. So we would be doing everything ourselves, which includes the cost for setup, breakdown, sound checking, transporting equipment, etc. All of those things were front-loaded in the personnel costs, as all of the performers would be doing this labor. And we decided on this because we found that cost for hiring a sound company was really expensive, and we just sort of wanted to do everything in-house. And as far as the equipment cost, so given that these concerts were envisioned as being from a safe distance and also outdoors, and then also given that we're using traditional instruments, which are acoustic, we really needed significant amplification for that. So we compared cost for equipment, which with how much renting a PA system and how much renting this stuff would be for each performance, and purchasing them seemed to be a bit more cost effective. And we also were hoping that it would allow us to provide more performance offerings in the future, as we want to start doing more of this. Ultimately, the main question really was are we willing to postpone? And we absolutely are. for many reasons, but one of them really is that we often do include a participatory element at the end of our performances where we invite people to join us by learning a communal dance. So postponing would totally align with our vision and how it would allow us to really integrate some of these important aspects into our performances. And I can speak about this later, but since we are thinking about collectively shifting to the idea of postponing, we did have some ideas on actually how to revise the budget, which I can share now, or I can wait to hear more questions.
Okay, thank you. So we can go ahead and go with questions from Commissioner Oshagan.
Yes, hi. Thank you for coming and presenting your work and talking about your work. You know, one of the indelible images of this whole pandemic has been the Italian opera singers singing from the rooftops and from their balconies. Yeah. That's been like really, really moving image for me personally. And I think any kind of echo of that, which I think you're trying to do here, I think is really, really interesting. But I wanted to, I'm trying to visualize it. For instance, if you were at the hospital, where would you envision that you would set up to play your music? And obviously it's outdoors, you're going to be outdoors, right? Can you just at least help me visualize at least that one venue?
Yeah. Glendale and Venice is kind of a tricky one because the built environment there is really strange. So I was sort of hoping to like really speak with someone about what they would suggest, but I can, for example, the Leisure Glen elderly home, they have like they have this courtyard where it's sort of like a U shape, and along the U shape are windows of different rooms and different where different folks are staying. And so if we imagine the windows being opened, or something, and we're in that courtyard playing outdoors, then there's sort of that safe distance of people being in their safe space, but also being able to hear music. I mean, certainly places like Armenia and Italy have a built environment that's a little more conducive to that, where there are like courtyards and they're just massive apartments that go up. It's a little harder in LA, but that was sort of the vision. So you're right, it really does depend on like the specific location for where we are, and that's important.
Right, okay. And you're planning on doing 3 of them, right? For the current plan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
to the current plan.
Thank you. Okay, so Commissioner Vire?
It's just a beautiful idea. It would be very therapeutic and soothing and uplifting, and I don't have any questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Thank you. I just adore this. I love it to death. I too envision a situation where people are in a courtyard or large vertical apartment building, and they can lean out and hear you, and everybody can stay safe, and you can entertain, and even participate with a number of people. So, I don't know what your timing ultimately will be, but I would encourage you to look at things like that. There are some wonderful big apartments in Glendale. There's a whole bunch on Lexington, East Lexington, that are quite conducive to this type of thing. And as long as people can stay safe, I certainly support you going ahead with this as soon as it's feasible. Thank you.
Yes. I will concur and agree with all the commissioners. I think it's a beautiful concept idea. I would love to see it come to fruition. Of course, if we do move forward and plan to accept the proposal, we can discuss further as to where the 3 can be if we did, because Adventist isn't an option, maybe postponing. So thank you very much, and we can go ahead and move forward. Thank you for calling and answering all our questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Okay,
Line
and our
6.
last one. Okay, we have Harry Weston and Jackie Lopez on the line. You guys are live.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm here with Jackie Lopez, co-founder of VersaStyle Dance Company. This is Harry Weston. I'm the partnerships manager for VersaStyle. So real quick, want to just jump in and reiterate on some of the details of our project. Color and Dance is a 4-part hip-hop and street dance series that centers Black and brown voices through recorded performance, live interviews with the artists, and live dance instruction. We're responding to the social justice uprising that we're currently experiencing and finding ourselves in. And we want to use this series as a way to uplift voices of not only the dancers in our company, but also dancers from our community whose voices often do not get heard. Each installment is going to begin with 3 pre-recorded 5-minute performance videos from the solo artists. This is immediately followed by a live stream, 15 or so minute interview with one of these performing artists. And in this interview, audience members are going to be able to participate live by submitting questions via the chat functions on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, which is where, this series is going to be aired. And the audience is going to get up and teach a short 15-minute movement class, sharing some of the movements from her or his performance. So to address some of the questions from the council, and again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here and address these questions. And honestly, we wanted to say too, Jennifer, we really appreciate you opening today's meeting with an acknowledgement of the Black Lives Matter movement and the LGBTQ+ community. These issues are of the utmost importance to us, so thank you for that, for Jennifer and the whole commission. But to address some of the questions, first and foremost about working with the Glendale community specifically, we were actually able to reach out to one of our performance partners, the Brand Library. So in May of last year, we were performing at the Brand Library in the courtyard. We worked with Aaron Herzog, who's the arts librarian there. We were actually the first ever hip-hop dance company to perform at the Brand. They have an innovative dance series there, but we were the first hip-hop performance for them. It was an incredible experience. We loved it. They loved it. And so we thought we'd reach out and see if they were interested in working with us on this project. The response was an overwhelming yes. Aaron is ready and willing to do, whatever. And so we started to brainstorm some ideas. And basically what we came up with was, first and foremost, the Brand can advertise through these videos. We'd love to access the Brand Library listserv as a way to advertise to the Glendale community. We can post images of our performances at the Brand, again, highlighting the innovative nature of the Brand Library as a performance space. But also, we would love to video these performances at the Brand Library. And Aaron was very open and receptive to that idea, using different spaces all around the Brand to highlight its beauty and accessibility. In addition to that, we thought we might even be able to incorporate a live component. The Brand is planning on opening up in the fall sometime. And so if, settings are conducive and it's available, we would love to add a live component, of course, adhering to, the social distancing regulations at the time. And of course, this brings up questions of timeline. So, we would look at doing this in the fall when they open up, but if that's not conducive, we could push it to the winter. We can push it as far as it needs to go. Aaron was very clear. She's open and was very excited about this idea. So that felt like a great way to incorporate the Glendale community, and we're very, very excited about that. The other question that was posed to us was about the nature of online live classes, in specific regards to dance. So this part of it for us, we've been participating in online dance instruction, for almost 3 months now since the quarantine was put into effect. We have dance classes running on Tuesday nights and Friday nights. We have an interview series running on Thursday night and Saturday afternoon. We have a lot of experience with this, and we've devised some techniques, first and foremost, to work with the bandwidth of Wi-Fi connections. This is a huge part of it. Using things like Ethernet cables, turning off other Wi-Fi devices, moving in closer proximity to the routers, things like that. We all have had positive experiences with improving internet bandwidth, and it improves the user experience. In addition, we do not use Zoom typically for these classes. Zoom is not a great resource for this. We've had a much better experience with YouTube Live in particular, and that is the software that we're going to be using for this series. So we hope to have a much better experience with the online portion. And again, really the meat of this project is in the performance recording. Thank you, Jennifer. It's in the performance recording. That's really what we're excited about in the live interview portion. The movement portion is going to be short. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. And, Commissioner Oshagan, did you have any questions?
No, I just want to thank you for your presentation. I think the work you're doing here, especially the work that at this moment in time in our history, is really critical. But I do want to say that my tendency would be to postpone a little bit, because my experience, as I said this before, with the Mikoshi proposal, online performance is just in my opinion, not nearly as effective as something that's live, and waiting a little longer is, I think, maybe beneficial for everybody. And the fact that you are working with brand, I think is really excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vyar?
No questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yeah, thank you very much. I was at the VersaStyle performance at Brand. It was so excellent and wonderful and exciting, and I agree with my colleague that I think if we could wait, that would be the way to go. I'm not sure if your budget includes both a live performance and online, but I think even if it had to be outside the plaza and in the Brand Park area to create more social distancing, it's worth it to do your instruction live. So, I hope you get to do it. Brand from home, which is the way Brand is now communicating its programs, is a little bit. It would be very hard to also get yourself out in front. There's so much wonderful stuff being communicated by the library system. I fear that things are going to get lost. So I'm voting for a live performance here, or multiple live performances. Thank you.
Thank you. The Chairwoman Zadorian, I will concur and actually state the exact same thing. I'm sad that some of these, I know they would be much better if they were live and if we just put them off, because a lot of these, when they're online, it kind of takes away from the actual experience. And I agree, and we should actually hold off on this one and push it. We can always still approve it, but have it for a later date. And be hopeful that at that time there will not be public facilities will be open, including the library. So with that, we can go ahead and move forward. Thank you so much for calling in and answering all our questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're open and adaptable, and we're just excited to work with the commission and to work with the Brand Library. So we'll move forward however the commission feels is best. We're ready to work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so how would we like to move forward with this?
I would recommend if the commission has an agreement of which proposals they do like,
Okay.
and we can go through the top ones that you recommend.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Or however you
definitely.
best want to do it.
So I think we can go through, and each commissioner, I'll go through the order, can state which ones they are 100% wanting to move forward, which ones they are planning, they would like to move forward, but would like to either have a date change or some sort of recommendation as to, also we can always accept these proposals and ask them to make changes. So that's also something we can do. And if you do not want to move forward, so please go ahead and state the numbers of each one if you have those in front of you. Commissioner Oshagan?
Chair Zadorian?
Yes.
Gary Schaefer, Director, Library Arts and Culture. Just in case our wonderful artists and performers are listening, to properly set expectations until the commission actually votes, it's not solidified. So I just want to make sure that, that until it's voted in, it's not a done deal.
Okay.
And I assume that will happen yet today, but I just, want to set that expectation for anyone in the viewing audience.
Okay. I also do want to state that as each commissioner gives their opinion, at the end I'll give my opinion, and I think I can go ahead and make the final decision as chair, but also taking into account all the commissioners' comments. And obviously, if there art is subjective, if I did not agree on moving forward with them, but one of you are very adamant and think that something should move forward, I will take that into consideration and, of course, vote for that. So please go ahead and move forward. Commissioner.
Chair Zadorian,
Yes.
would it be possible to, like, for instance, do number one and have everybody give their vote and then go on to number two?
That might be simpler. Okay.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Yes, thank you for the recommendation. So we can go ahead and move forward with proposal number one, and then we'll go through each commissioner, and you can either say yes with a contingency, or a no. So proposal number one was the discs in Central Park, which is, we're not 100% sure about Central Park being the location. Commissioner Oshagan?
I'm 100% behind this one, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Site consideration and all that
Site
taken into account, obviously, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner Vyar?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, 100% in Central Park.
Okay. Okay. And I would like to go ahead and say yes, so we can go ahead and move forward with proposal number one 4 ayes. We're going to move forward. Proposal number 2, the meditating, Yoshito meditating. Proposed budget is 15,000. Commissioner Oshagan?
Chair.
Okay, so I have some reservations. Excuse me?
Excuse me, this is Mike Grant, Chair Zadorian.
Yes.
Yes, hi. In the motion, also allocate the budget amount for each one of these. I don't know if you want to do it now, or if in the motion you're going to do it at the end where you, after you voted on these, you'll allocate the amount.
Yes.
Do not
So
exceed budget.
I'm assuming as when we say yes, we're also accepting the budget as is.
I can also plan to restate that when we do the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
yes, but please, if you have something about the budget that you would like to make a comment about, include that in your vote as a contingency. Okay, so proposal number 2, Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes, so there's a need, a huge need in Glendale for murals. I think we all agree on that, and it'll beautify our city in a tremendous way. But this is a permanent mural, 15 to 20 year long mural. And if we were going to put a mural on the side of YMCA, I think we would like to go through a process of getting a number of different artists to propose what kind of mural they would put on that wall. So I'm a little bit hesitant in taking one proposal, saying, oh, because we have a wall, we have the YMCA who has agreed to go forward with it. So I am, even though I am really agree with the idea of doing this mural, and it's fantastic that we have the YMCA wall, I think the process for a permanent work of art should not be here. AHA is not for a permanent work of art. And maybe we should reconsider how we do this. Maybe we could start a parallel process where we can ask artists to propose murals for this particular wall. So I am...
Commissioner...
Yes.
Commissioner Oshagan, Madam Chair. So first off, the artist has stated that the YMCA was amenable to this. We would just want to check off that paperwork. Also with the mural, there was something specific in the AHA ask that if and it wasn't only murals, but murals was one of the items that the commission would need to recommend to City Council. So it would actually need to go before City Council, and I think you were all speaking to your city councilors about the potential of murals. And also you could state that, that the life of this mural would be, 2 to 5 years if you wanted to, and then it's going to be painted over or restored. This was the only mural submission we got, and if we like the mural, we could proceed in that fashion, but it does still need to go before City Council, and maybe when this goes before City Council will decide to relax rules around murals or ask us to come back with an ordinance of some sort. So I just wanted to put that out there for all the commissioners to consider as they're looking at this. And certainly you all might have your own ideas on some of these things as well. So
thank you.
That's all.
Okay, so Commissioner Oshagan, was that a no or was it a yes with a contingency on the time?
Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Gary. Yeah, I mean, I would say then yes, but a temporary mural there would make more sense to me than having a permanent one without a more competitive process, because walls are precious and rare to come by in our city. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Byer?
I would give this a yes, particularly because the YMCA has already approved it. I think the concept is very compatible with the Y, and in terms of temporary versus permanent, I think if we can just sort of strike a balance between it's a high-priced project, so we want to get our money, leave it up long enough to get our money's worth. But I vote yes for this.
Thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, I vote yes with conditions. The condition is that it would be temporary. I think it's great that we're finally dipping our toe into the mural waters. but doesn't this have to also go to the design review board according to our current ordinances? So there's quite an arduous and outdated process involved with the approval of murals. So I would say, in addition to the condition of making this a temporary mural, of course, enough time that it's up for a long enough time to be appreciated, that we also make a condition on this, that if we put this mural up, that we take active steps to get a new mural ordinance, and that becomes a project that really has some legs. Otherwise, we shouldn't proceed any further. So yes, with those conditions.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I would like to vote yes as well. So we can go ahead and move forward to proposal number 3.
Well, what's the vote with conditions or not on 2?
It would be with conditions, yes.
Okay,
Sorry, I can
thank you.
clarify that. I would be okay, and it would be a yes with the condition that we would put a temporary time limit, and we can always discuss that further with the artist once it's been approved. I believe he was flexible because he did say there is a certain time that it will last, but that doesn't always mean that's how long it will stay. So we can always discuss with the artist.
Great.
Okay, proposal number, sorry.
Chair Zadorian, obviously Commissioner Vidor is correct that it does need to go, unless legal counsel tells me otherwise, it does need to go to design review board. So yes, there is a process that we'll need to go through. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Chair Zadorian and
Yes.
Commissioners, also it'll require a sign permit. So yes, there are some procedural prerequisites.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for clarifying. Okay, proposal number 4, the ignorant tour guide, Commissioner Oshagan.
Yes, I like this project a lot. But there's one comment I want to make. So if I remember correctly, this was going to go on a website. Is that right? And so there's a couple of proposals. In fact, right, the next 2 also that are proposing to be placed on a website. So I would like to think about putting all these projects on our website, right, on the Arts and Culture Commission website, and hosting them there and driving traffic through these projects that we're funding to our website. And so the project, definitely 100% I'm behind it, but how it finally lives is maybe we could look at the different budgets that are proposing to do hosting and website development, and we can fold those budgets into our own website and have us host it. And I think would overall decrease the budget on a couple of these projects. So I'm 100% yes on this one. If there was a website, I can't quite remember now on this one, I would say let's try to fold it into our own.
Okay.
Quickly comment, Commissioner Oshagan. My understanding with this particular proposal was that the audio walking tour guide could live on the Arts and Culture Commission's website. I don't necessarily know if that's possible for the others, but for this one, I do believe it's possible to have the audio walking tour guide on the Commission's website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, Commissioner Vier. Commissioner Vier. Okay, well, let's move forward to Commissioner Vidor, and we can always go back to Vier. Commissioner Vidor?
Okay, yes, I think this is great too, so I'm for it. But I agree that we have to figure out, if we can get it on our website, that's great. But in general comment that applies to everything, we have to make sure that we do an outstanding job and work with the artists to make sure everybody in the city knows about these. We can't be passive about it. So we really need to think about how we're going to push these projects out to the public. And that really applies to this one because it is so conceptual. So it's very important that we communicate very clearly. So, yeah, I approve with that condition.
Okay, thank you. I'm very iffy about this one just because it is a very passive idea and concept. I love the idea of, yes, a tour around Glendale, but this is much more of a meditative guide rather than an actual tour. I understand that it has artistic concepts incorporated into it, but I just don't see how this would be. I don't want to approve every proposal that comes forward just because it does have some artistic components, because it may not work in Glendale. It may not have any anybody actually participating and using it. So I want to know if you guys are very, you guys really did want to see this move forward. And if so, then yes, I will vote yes on it. Please, Commissioner Oshagan and Vidor, if you guys really want to see this move forward, we can, but I just don't want to have to approve every single one just because we're getting a bunch of concepts, only because there is a second round. And if we did run out of the budgeted amount, we can't approve any further proposals, which might actually be better and visually more higher quality. So Commissioner Oshagan, is this something that you are 100% for and you want to see move forward?
Maybe we could see if Commissioner Villar is back online, see what
Yeah.
she thinks.
Yes, I apologize.
Yeah.
I lost my screen for momentarily there, so I'm very sorry. This is one that I'm looking at the budget. I would take a pass on this one. I would vote no on this one for the reasons that Chair Zadorian mentioned, and I just think that it's high price for the response that it might elicit in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. So Commissioner Oshagan and Vidor, did you guys have any other further comments?
Yeah, I'll go along with.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'll go along with. Both Commissioners Beyer and Oshkan. I think. I mean, I'm not saying I'd like to dismiss it, but I really, because it is interesting and different. So we're going in a direction we've never gone in, which is always risky and scary. But I think it needs to be worked through a lot more. So looking at the current proposal, first of all, I would take the word tour off because this is not a tour. The word tour should not be here. It's got to be something else. But then it needs to be worked through a lot more. So maybe it's a work in progress and we revisit it later.
Yes.
Is that possible?
We can always have a backup in case one of the proposals falls through and an artist isn't able to complete the project, and then that could be a backup later down the line. So we can always keep it as a backup and work on it with the artist for it to kind of become what we're looking for.
Okay.
If I could say a couple of things. So
Yes.
I think it's always possible to add more projects to increase the budget that we've assigned. I mean, we still have. It's probably now gone up. We have $8 million or something, in our fund. So if we max out 100,000, I would be willing to increase that if we have worthy projects. And I have to also remind you that we have received 100, I think, proposals, and these are the top 10. I like the conceptual part of this. Perhaps that's this conceptual part of me, and we do like. I would like to see diverse types of arts presented to our city, even though it may not be completely accessible to everybody in terms of the conceptual part of it. And I do take the point about the budget. Perhaps that's too high. Perhaps I don't have the budget in front of me. I think I have to drag out the PDFs from last meeting. But if this budget was lower, maybe commissioners would reconsider this project.
Well, my problem wasn't exactly the budget. It was more of the actual proposal itself and the idea. Yes, conceptually, it looks great, but would it actually be used? How would you get more people to be using it? And does it actually encompass anything about Glendale? It's much more of a kind of general guide rather than specific to Glendale structures, Glendale city residents, in my opinion, of course. But the budget that you're referring to for $8 million is not for this specific project. That's the only problem.
I think you're referring to the Urban Art Fund. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's the total budget. That's the total we have for the Urban Art Fund, not even budgeted. So I don't know if it's not that we have $8 million to spend.
Yeah, well, I mean, my point was that we've drawn from that budget to give this $100,000 to artists. We can increase that 100,000. I'm saying it isn't that we don't have any money. That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah. So would you want to?
That was my point.
Sorry, I don't want to talk over you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, okay.
But do you think that if after the next, because there is an entire next level of proposals that's going to be coming forward to us, if after that set of proposals we still we do want to maybe increase the budget and include this at the end, we can do that. Is that something that you would like to do?
Yeah, I think that's a good compromise in this particular situation, so I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, then we will not be moving forward with this one in this specific motion. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments. We can go ahead and move forward to proposal number 5, 365 days of voters. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes, I'm 100% behind this, and I believe this was one of the ones that was suggesting the website besides doing everything through social media. So if we should really incorporate this into our website.
Yeah.
This is a project that we're funding, and we should do it. This one and the next one together could be incorporated into our website, and perhaps those budgets at that point would change, and then that's something that perhaps Jennifer could look at before finally funding the project.
Yes, that's a great clarification question, Commissioner Oshagan, because I believe this project specifically was supposed to have its own separate website, so I don't know if the content can be embedded into our specific city website. So that might be a point of clarification before moving forward with funding.
And this is Commissioner Zadorian, Gary Schaefer again. This project, I mean, ultimately we can always link to these artists' websites, and we absolutely would do that. So these can live on our website more than just a URL. We can actually, if the artist allows, bring some content into the site and then just link off to it, opening up in a separate window. Folks they'll barely realize they're not on our site. So, but all that can be spoken with the artists, and I certainly appreciate any move for cost savings. I don't know how much cost savings there actually would be, and then suddenly library, arts and culture is responsible for site maintenance, updates, and it might just be better to have the artists being responsible for that, and might be more cost effective in the end run. But we'll certainly entertain it, and we will look at it for any of these proposals that have website or online components. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Commissioner Oshagan, that was a yes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Vire?
This is another one I'd probably give a no to if we have to eliminate some. I think that this wouldn't be at the top of my list. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, I would give this a yes with the same condition that Commissioner Oshagan mentioned, and also add another condition which was already mentioned, that we have to have the physical telltales and reminders in and around the city in key places.
Yes.
I don't know what form it would take, posters or whatever, but there must be anything online like this, physical reminders, so that people understand what's going on and have an opportunity to see it live.
Okay, thank you. I actually agree. I will vote yes with the condition that it is physical copies, posters around the city leading up to Election Day, and that would be my condition. So that's a yes for me as well.
Chair Zadorian?
Yes.
Happy to see you guys approve this one. I think this will be very labor intensive, so we will be looking for a commissioner to act as liaison to the artist to work with her just to help us make this happen in the vision of the commission.
Okay. Did we want to do that right now publicly, or did we want to do that kind of just tell Jennifer who would like?
No, not necessary. Okay. I just want the commission to be aware of that as they take the final motion.
Okay, thank you.
Chair Zadorian, Mike yes. Grant, sorry to interrupt, and commissioners, we would have to agendize that for maybe the next time.
Okay.
My apologies. I mean, I don't think it's not time sensitive.
Yeah, it's not time consuming, so it'll be a quick decision. Thank you. Okay, then we can go ahead and agendize that as well. Okay, and so I know that Commissioner Vire did say no. Are you okay if we were to move forward without your vote?
I am. Okay. And if I like the conditions okay. that were put forth, and I can certainly go along with those.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Then we can go ahead and move forward to proposal number 6, I'm a small business, Glendale. Commissioner Oshagan?
Just very quickly for an updating of the budget. The artist had mentioned that a 5-year website, so this would be conditional because of the zoom lens on the photos.
These ones.
They would need a specific website, so the maintenance of that would be an additional $616, so the total would be $5,616. Okay. Apologies, Commissioner Oshagan.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I like the photography and the focus on local business. But for me, like, how is the traffic going to be driven? If it's only going to live on this website and this artist's website, you know, is there a plan to drive traffic to it? Who's going to see it? I mean, this is a big question for me. This was a question for me, you know, last month when we went over these things. What's the end game on these projects? You know, just saying it's going to be on a website to me is kind of a very easy kind of end game, which is not going to be very effective because there's a million websites and there's thousands of people trying to get your attention to their website. So I'm kind of iffy on this just because of, not because of the project itself, but because of the final end game display and accessibility to our public to it. So I don't know what my fellow commissioners think about this.
Okay, then we can move forward and then kind of discuss and always come back to you. So Commissioner Vire?
I do like this project too, but I would vote a resounding yes on this with Commissioner Vidor's suggestion that the business actually have a recognition within it that could be viewed as part of a project recognition posted somewhere within the business that people would see when they come in, that would then also link them to wherever it's going to live online.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Vidor?
Yeah, I would vote yes. Thank you for mentioning my condition, Commissioner Vire. I think it's really important that this thing be presented as a work of art, and maybe a title like The Art of Small Business or something would be, you know, that thing about marrying art with the concept of calling attention to small businesses. But it is kind of a photographic work of art, so I'm 100% yes with absolutely impeccable publicity going along with it.
Okay, so I actually do agree with Commissioner Oshagan that I love the concept. I love the pieces, the idea behind kind of putting a focus on our small businesses around Glendale. However, I'm not seeing how this would be accessible. It would be viewed by the public other than on the website. Even if you did have a link on our website, if you had a link on the Glendale City website, I mean, I look at Art Happens Anywhere as something that anybody around Glendale will kind of view either on a daily basis or they'll come across it even if it's on social media, while this is only on a website. So I'm not seeing that that component that we're kind of looking for. So I don't know if Commissioner Oshagan, did you want to add to that? Now that
Chair Zadorian?
Yes.
May I?
Yes.
If the artist was amenable, Gary Schaefer, Director of Library Arts and Culture, if artist is amenable, the Central Library, if open, keep in mind we are currently closed, obviously due to the COVID-19 outbreak. If the artist would consider generating prints, there's a cost for that. The library would be open to displaying them. The artist, as part of our efforts around promoting small business, would be amenable also to some sort of programmatic thing where maybe the businesses could come together and be featured. We'd be happy to work with the Chamber of Commerce on that as well. Because we really do think the library means business. We do think that the library, we say, we work for you. So if commission is amenable, if the artist is amenable, we would consider it for this particular proposal.
Okay.
Could I add something to that? This is Arlene.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in Glendale we have a kind of a legacy of like the art world and the business world in general are not on the same page or connected. There's never been a big melding of the two, and this is kind of one road into that might actually prove quite surprising. So I'd like us to consider proceeding with this as long as we can really give it its due.
Okay, then would we...
Chair Zadorian,
yes.
if I could say a couple of things?
Commissioner
Yeah, so I thank you for your comments, Gary. I think if that kind of outreach is planned, and if the artist is okay with that, they're able to engage in that kind of thing where you bring businesses together and you show the work. And obviously, this will be a very nice project to put in the passageway at the library. So that kind of thing will get exposure to our public, and that kind of thing is what what I'm looking for. I think that would be a contingency for me to accept this project.
I would agree with that as well. So I think if that is decided, that's agreed upon, I think we can move forward with that condition that we do discuss and work with the artists and find a way to promote and display the art so that it's much more accessible and visual to kind of more people either at the library or other locations. So we can go ahead and vote yes on that one as well and move forward. Thank you so much for the comments. We are now moving forward to proposal number 7, our Mikoshi. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes to this, but later, much later. I don't know, maybe next year, middle of next year.
Yeah. So do we want to just
know.
hold off on it
Yeah.
then? Is that your idea, not to even vote on it right now? Or I mean to vote, but not vote yes.
Well, how would that work? I mean, if we don't vote on it now, then and the money runs out, we decide not to add more money, then this will not get funded. Or do we say yes to this? We allocate the $15K, but then wait a year or 9 months before it happens.
Actually, this is a question maybe for Gary or Jennifer. This is the proposed budget for just this year, correct? So next year we can also have another new budget and include more proposals. So AHA would actually happen every year, and we'd have a budget for it every year. So this would be something that we could approve next year.
For clarification, there is no, technically right now, a budget line for AHA in the current work plan. We could work on the 2020-21 work plan and make sure there's a budget line specifically for AHA, but as of right now, there's not. So that would be something to consider in the future.
Yeah, so that's also an idea. So sorry, Ada, I cut you off, but we can move forward and then always come back. So Commissioner Vyar?
Yes, absolutely. I would love this, and let's postpone it for a live performance.
Okay. Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, also not as part of this immediate curation of art pieces, but later on, in the park as a something we would sponsor in association with another live activity. So delay.
Yes. So I, as chairs, do agree with all commissioners, and I believe we should delay. We should not vote yes and include it into this motion. We can always discuss and have it part of the 2021 budget. We can always continue AHA then, just because right now we don't know when things will be live. So we can hold off until the next year rather than including it now and approve other proposals that would work for this coming year, or this current year, I'm sorry.
So for clarification, this proposal is going to be not funded right now. If and when we do include another AHA call in 2021, would this proposal go to the top, or would you like them to reapply?
I would like it to go to the top. Do the commissioners agree with me?
Yes.
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 Perfect. 3 yeses.
Got it.
Okay. Then we can move forward to the next proposal. Proposal, it's okay, sorry, I just don't have it for me. Proposal number 8 with Love from LA, Commissioner Oshagan?
Yeah, I think this is also in the same situation, right? I think having presence at the brand would be really kind of bring the public together, especially when you have local Glendale artists that would draw the local community. So I'm saying yes to this because of the quality and the caliber of the artists, but a little bit later, I would say.
Okay, Commissioner Vyar.
Chair Zadorian, if
Jennifer, could you reiterate, because I think the proposer spoke specifically to kind of the technical issues of this. Obviously, we are seeing some live performances that folks are managing to pull off online, or maybe pre-recorded, I'm sorry, but I've seen some pretty amazing things. Could you remind us, and possibly just me, how he was looking to overcome any kind of, typical audio issues that might result from Wi-Fi or something to that effect?
Right. So from my conversation and what he mentioned in the proposal today, he would work with a special technician. He would ensure that the quality of the videos were of high caliber. In regards to timing, I hesitate in regards to pushing this later because we have an opportunity to work with this artist, but also because in lieu of the fact that the Brand Library Plaza series has been canceled, this can also be a form of engaging our community through this outlet. But that would just be my personal opinion. But does that answer your questions, Director Schaefer?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to see what he can pull off, quite frankly. Sorry, and not just a social experiment, but as being able to bring high caliber entertainment to people's homes when we're safer at home, and to have the commission's name associated with that.
To add to that, the quality of artists that he's working with, I do not believe would apply for the Brand Library Plaza series. They would probably request a higher stipend. So this is also an opportunity to work with these artists who we would not normally have apply to the Brand Library series.
If I could ask a quick question, when did they propose to do the first live stream?
Don't have that in front of me, but if we go around with the commission, okay. I can look in the application once more.
Then we'll come back to that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Villar?
Okay.
Yes, I vote yes.
Okay, Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Okay, I do want to see this. I obviously would prefer it were live because it does look like a great compilation of different diverse and talented artists. But considering the times and the fact that, yes, there is no Brand Plaza series, I do want to vote yes on this. I also do think that this would be great moving forward if I believe his name was Mark. If Mark did want to work with us in the future, where he does this for us every year, actually, and that way we don't have to be the ones planning everything. It would kind of be like hiring a consultant where he would just host an event and take care of everything, and he gives us the budget item, a projected budget, and we would approve. That would be great if that's possible. I do like that he gave us the option to have our logo and kind of publicize. I'm hoping that our logo, since we are like fully funding it, would be, I'm assuming we're fully funding this, correct? There wouldn't be any other contributors, that it would actually only have our logo on it, either City of Glendale and the Arts and Culture Commission or other City of Glendale logos. So I do vote yes until Jennifer gives us that information.
I'm looking at the application now. My apologies. There's not a specific timeline. It just says that it will run for 6 months. So I can clarify with the artist when the actual videos would debut or the performances would debut.
Okay, Commissioner Oshogan, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Jennifer, for the clarification. And I'm okay. We can go forward with this. I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you very much. So that was a yes. Next proposal, number 9. Armenian traditional dance and music. Proposed budget is $15,000. Commissioner Oshogan?
Yes, on this one.
Okay, Commissioner Villar?
Yes, I have to admit I had a lot of trouble understanding some of the specifics in the presentation. Could you tell me what the venues are again? That I heard them say, I think she said something about Adventist, but it was...
no, so Adventist was the one that they did not hear back from because, of course, Adventist is very busy with the pandemic, so that one was off the table. The other two was a senior facility home and a rehabilitation center.
Yeah, the two that I have written down are Leisure Glen, which was the senior living home, and Casa de Paloma.
Okay, and they did, of course, mention that we can influence kind of different locations and work with them to find somewhere else. So if we did have any ideas, we can always send it to them and work with them. Obviously, we do respect that we don't want to put any limitations on these artists, but we love when they do want to take our ideas and recommendations into consideration. So we like when artists are flexible, and I think this is one of those. So Commissioner Vire, was that a yes or a no?
Yes, that's a yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Yes, and I would also like to vote yes on this and of course work with the group moving forward to decide on locations and time as well. And of course make sure it's publicized and gets the attention it deserves. Okay, and the last proposal, number 10, Color in Dance, with a proposed budget of $15,000. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yeah, I think this is a critically important project that we should support. But again, I think we would starting date should be kind of determined with respect to when we can get out in the public again.
Okay. Commissioner Vire?
I'm sorry, just for clarity, Commissioner Oshagan, is this a proposal quite like the Mikoshi, where if AHA were to open again in 2021, this proposal would be at the top of the pile for next year?
I guess, or I don't know. Is that the only other option?
No, it is not. That's not the only option. You can vote it through now, and it's the funding set aside. And when we can open and the artists are available, we schedule.
Yeah, so I think that's a better option for this one because it is kind of immediate in terms of the political situation right now in our country.
So funding now, got it. Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Vire?
Yes, yes on this one, and I concur to get them going as soon as it's possible. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Vidor?
Yes, live performance in a safe environment.
Okay, so
postpone.
Agreed. So I do vote yes on definitely having it in live. My only question is, did we want to fund it now in this year's budget because we want them to have funding?
That was my understanding.
When you refer
but the funding doesn't transfer until the performance is done. So.
Okay.
Yes.
But what if that does end up being 2021?
The AHA grant is open. The call for artists was from June 2020 to June 2020.
Okay. Okay. That makes much more sense. Okay, then I agree with all the commissioners that it is a yes, but we would like to see it live.
Mr. Grant, I'm going to read off the, well, actually, Chair Zadorian, would you like to read the motion? And then I will read off the budgets and the proposals for funding? Does that make sense?
Yes. Am I making the motion, or am I just stating it?
I guess we should have a move first.
Okay, I can go ahead and move it. I would like to move for the arts and culture. I'm sorry, is there a comment? Okay, no. I would like to make a motion for the Arts and Culture Commission to hereby approve the following proposals with projected budgets ranging from $3,000 to $15,000 for the Art Happens Anywhere program, the total amount of which is not to exceed, we will go through that, from the 2019-2020 work plan as more particularly outlined in the June 18, 2020 report by the Library of Arts and Culture's Art and Culture Administrator.
I'm going to describe each project and the budget, and then I will give a total so that the commissioners know how much has been allocated. So the first proposal is Reflections, which would be $5,601. Yoshito Meditating, $15,000, with the caveat of that it would have to go to the Design Review Board and our City Council. 365 Voters, with a project total of $6,000. I Am a Small Business Glendale, with allocation of $5,616. With Love from LA, an allocation of $15,000. Armenian Folk Dance, an allocation of $15,000. Color and Dance, an allocation of $15,000. And I believe I have a total of $77,217, which would be allocated. Does that sound accurate?
Excuse me. All right, here, go ahead.
No, Commissioner Oshagan, we can go down the line, so you can go first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the mural project, there's a contingency of being temporary.
Yes.
Right? Besides all the city hoops that they have to jump through, but that's the contingency for funding it. And that may impact the budget somewhat. I'm not sure.
Okay. Who was the other commenter? Was it Commissioner Vidor or Viar? Someone was.
Yeah, that was my question. Ara covered it.
Okay.
We have a second?
Are we're already voting on the entire thing?
Yes, as the budget as it stands with the allocations as I described. Would that motion be approved? Chair Zadorian moved it. Do we have a second?
No, wait, excuse me, Chair Zadorian and commissioners. Actually, the motion needs to be made by someone other than the chair, and then someone else can second it.
Okay.
I tried to explain that a few seconds ago.
So the commissioner can say, so moved.
Oh,
yeah.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. Okay.
And then I will roll call. Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Viar?
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Chairperson Zadorian?
Yes.
Great. Okay, agenda item 5B as we move on. This is the nomination of the Art Happens Anywhere, our AHA Artist Review and Selection Committee. The motion would be to appoint 2 representatives from the Commission for an Artist Review and Selection Committee for the Art Happens Anywhere program. So per the meeting that we had in February 20 of 2020 at the regular commission meeting, the following commissioners were assigned to these artist selection committees. The Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station, Vice Chair Tufenkian, Commissioner Oshagan. Brand Library Plaza Series and 222 East Concert Series, Chairperson Zadorian, Vice Chair Tufenkian. Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Program, Commissioner Viar, Commissioner Vidor. Dia de los Muertos, Commissioner Viar, Commissioner Vidor. So it is recommended that the commission appoint 2 representatives for the AHA Artist Review Selection Committee.
I did have a question, actually. So is AHA, what does that fall under our categories?
As of right now, it's under Citywide Arts.
Okay, so I know that we had discussed having a commissioner or 2 commissioners on each project, but would commissioners be willing to make it so that there are 2 commissioners on each of the, I guess we would call this subgroups of our work plan? So there would be 2 commissioners on citywide arts, 2 commissioners on neighborhood arts, 2 commissioners on performing arts, and 2 commissioners on arts and culture events. And that way, moving forward, they would basically encompass any of the projects that fall in those groups. Is that something that commissioners would be willing to do?
Chair Zadorian?
Yes.
So I appreciate that, and you putting that forward. We would actually need to bring that back as a action item at our next meeting, but this does give opportunity for the commissioners to consider that, so it's not just sprung on them. So, but I think that's a very good idea to divide the work that way.
Okay, so then we can go ahead and move forward and pick somebody for the AHA, and then next time we can agendize to discuss that. Is that okay? So then we can also move forward with the appointment of 2 commissioners to the Review and Selection Committee for the Art Happens Anywhere program. Does anybody want to make a, I guess, recommendation?
I don't understand why we're doing this. We just made our selection as a commission.
It was because last time we had discussed that we ended up having a very long conversation with lots of questions, and instead we can have it where it's just 2 commissioners sitting going through all the applications, and they can cover all the questions, and then it would come to the entire commission once there's been a kind of a more a decision sort of been made, and the questions have been answered before it comes forward, so there's time saved during an actual commission meeting. It would still be a special commission meeting, which would have to be, I believe, publicized. However, it would save much more time for our main commission meeting.
And for clarification, Commissioner Vidor, the first round of applications is what we just discussed. There is a second round of applications that had a deadline of June 12th, and we received 24 additional applications for that. So this committee would be reviewing the second round, which would be the 24 applications. And as Chairperson Zadorian mentioned, it would alleviate some of the time from the regular commission meeting, so it would be a special commission meeting.
I mean, unless you're thinking that it's better we all look at it at the same time. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that if that's something you did want to propose, keeping things the way they are. But when there was 100 applications, it kind of made more sense. Now that it's almost 24, maybe it's less of a need, but I'm willing to take into consideration anything you guys think. Did we still want to move forward and appoint 2 commissioners?
And just a budget update. From what we allocated today, there's an additional $22,783 out of the $100,000 that we can still allocate from the second round, or we can include some of the proposals that were not chosen for this round. So there is still work to do, is the point.
Okay. Any recommendations as to which commissioner would like to join? No, I mean, I'd be willing to join as a commissioner to review and select on the committee.
Well, I'll do it.
Commissioner could always nominate Commissioner Tepankian, though she is not here to volunteer.
That's right. Or accept. I'm sorry, who was the other one who just...
I would, Ada here, I would nominate Commissioner Arlene.
Okay.
On that.
Arlene, are you willing to accept?
I offered to do it.
Okay, perfect.
I just said that. But, if you'd rather have somebody else, that's okay.
No, that's perfect. So then we'll have Chairperson Zadorian and Commissioner Arlene Vidor, and we can, I believe, vote on that?
Yes. We need a motion.
I'm sorry. Can someone make a motion who is not the chair?
This is Commissioner Vira. I so move.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Aura.
Do you want to read the motion?
The entire motion? Yes.
Page 13.
This is a motion for the Arts and Culture Commission to hereby appoint Chairperson Zadorian and Commissioner Arlene Vidor to the Art Happens Anywhere Program Artist Review and Selection Committee, as more particularly outlined in the June 18, 2020 report by the Library of Arts and Culture Administrator.
Roll call, Commissioner Oshagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Vyar?
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Chairperson Zadorian?
Yes.
Great. We are going to be moving on to agenda item 5C, which is in regards to the Glendale Art Walk. As stated in the report, on November 4th, staff released the request for proposals for an event consultant with a deadline to receive applications by January 17th, 2020, and staff received 3 applications for consideration. In March, as we all know, the United States declared a global pandemic with the coronavirus pandemic, and due to the Safer at Home ordinance, several affected events, and in addition to the national protest, which is caused subsequent cause. The staff recommends that the Glendale Art Walk be rescheduled from October 2020 to May 2021 so that the consultant can be secured and also have ample time to prepare and plan for an inaugural art walk for the city of Glendale. The Exhibit 1 is attached, which is the actual request for proposals for the event consultant.
Okay. So can we get somebody to make the motion?
Sorry, Ada here. We had 3 applicants, and I think last time we spoke about having one of them being really the best applicant. So do we want to consider the fact that we do have an applicant that we like? We should appoint them so that they don't go off to something else, but this time frame gets shifted rather than just postponing the whole thing? Maybe, do you think that would be a better approach?
Chair Zadorian, Gary Schaefer. Jennifer can refute what I'm about to say, but I don't believe any decision has been made on the consultant. Quite frankly, as a matter of time, we went into the pandemic. Jennifer's been working very hard. AHA was not planned for, so she's worked hard on that. We've also been she worked very hard on the major art consultant RFP, so I don't believe we've made a decision on the 3 groups. Because of the pandemic, we knew we couldn't do the art walk. But please correct me, Jennifer, if I'm wrong.
So that is correct.
So then, can I ask a question? Would we tell these applicants that we're postponing and then give them the opportunity to, if they desired, reinstate their application later for consideration. So in other words, we just, as a formality, put the application back out again and say, you know, if you want us to, you don't have to reapply. We'll just reactivate your application at the time we decide to pursue this. Or, you know, how do we follow up with these people?
Commissioner Vidor, I think that's an excellent recommendation, and I think I can absolutely reach out to the 3 applicants and see if they would like to keep their application on file for future.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Commissioner Vier, did you have a comment on this?
No.
Okay. I do agree with Commissioner Vidor in her recommendation. But this is the motion to postpone the Glendale Art Walk, and then we can handle the consultant by having it as a discussion item next time, or is that something that you would just go ahead and move forward with?
We have not made a decision yet on who to move forward with the consultant.
Yes, no, I mean to let them know.
Oh.
Is that something that we need to vote on or discuss further, or is that something that you can just go ahead and do and discuss with the ones who did apply?
I believe that's something I can do.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then does anyone want to make the motion to postpone the Glendale Art Walk?
I'll make a motion to postpone the Glendale Art Walk.
Okay, that's Commissioner Vidor. Do we have a second?
Commissioner O'Shagan here, I second.
Thank you.
We'll do roll call. Do you want to read the motion?
Is there a motion?
53. Page 53.
Sorry, let me find it. Okay.
What page? I'm sorry?
53.
In the PDF?
On
53?
Yeah. The motion is for the Arts and Culture Commission to hereby postpone the Glendale Art Walk from October 2020 to May 2021 for the reasons more fully explained in the June 18, 2020 report by the Library of Arts and Culture's Art and Culture Administrator.
I'm going to do roll call. Commissioner O'Shagan?
Yes.
Commissioner Viar?
Yes.
Commissioner Vidor?
Yes.
Chairperson Zadorian?
Yes.
Great. Agenda item 6, discussion items. A, 2019-20 work plan progress. The updates that we have are very quick. In regards to the RFP for the art consultant, that was released on June 5th. The deadline to submit a proposal for this opportunity is July 31st on Friday. And the exhibit that is attached to that is the actual our RFP for review. It also lives on our website at glendaleartsandculture.org. The second update that we have is regards to neighborhood arts. As we mentioned, we had the road trip exhibition at the Adams Square Mini Park gas station that's currently up. The next one that's going to happen is from artist Jennifer Swain, which was called Bioluminescence Wonderment, and that's going to be from July 13th to August 21st, 2020. And so that is our updates that we have.
Commissioner O'Shagan, any responses to the RFP so far, Jennifer?
As of right now, no. I've had, I think, 2 email inquiries, but I have not had an actual proposal received as of yet. I did share the opportunity with the LA Metro and different partners within LA County who have worked with public art consultants. So the RFP is out there to the accurate constituents that we're looking for and actual applicants that we're looking for, but I have not specifically received a proposal as of yet.
Where can they find, where are we posting?
Excellent, thank you.
It is on glendaleartsandculture.org, and I can resend the link. But if you go under artist opportunities, it's the first.
I mean, how are we reaching out to other folks? Is it only on the city website, or?
We can put it on the city website, absolutely. I specifically reached out to LA Metro and different public art consultants that I've known and worked with within LA County so that they can share that with their networks of consultants that they've worked with.
And are we not posting it on, I can't remember the platform we used that one time that was a little more expensive.
Oh, Cafe specifically for artists.
Okay, so you can't put any, okay.
But we have put it on the Public Southern California Public Art Network, so they are aware of it as well.
Okay, perfect. Were there any other questions or comments from commissioners?
No.
Okay, then we can go ahead and move forward.
And agenda item 7, commission staff comments. Commissioner
O'Shagan, would you like to start?
Yes, I have a couple of comments to make. The main thing being that, unfortunately, I have to say this is my last Arts and Culture Commission meeting. I have decided to resign from the position. Then I've been walking kind of a thin line between being an employee of the city as well as being a commissioner. And I'm cognizant of some of the issues that may arise because of that, as well as the fact that there may be, as our program expands, as we have more and more public art coming into the city and around our library, I think there may be potentialities of conflict. So I think it is best that I resign. And the work we have done together the last couple of years, I think, has been tremendous. I think we've moved Glendale a huge step forward in terms of making it an arts destination. I see still the potential. It's on the horizon that we will get there. There is, of course, still a lot of work to do. And I will always be an advocate, and I will always be working very hard to make Glendale an arts destination in every capacity that I have at my disposal as a curator at the library as well as an artist. And so I wanted to thank Councilmember Paula Devine for having the trust in me and appointing me. I wanted to thank the staff, library staff, for the tremendous work that they've done in the last few years that I worked with them. And I want to also thank my fellow commissioners. It has been tremendous working with you and past commissioners also. And we will continue working together as we move further and we really make Glendale into an arts destination. So thank you. It has been really a tremendous experience, and it will continue to be so.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make my comments after, but thank you for sharing with us. We'll go ahead and move forward with Commissioner Vire.
Just want to say I'll miss you, Ara, and thanks for some guidance on serving on this commission and for all the work you've already done. And I will see you often at the Reflect Space and in the library.
Thank you.
That's it.
Commissioner Vidor?
Well, just starting out, I have a couple comments to make, but just starting out with Ara's announcement, I'm certainly going to miss you, and I think you bring a wonderful and unique perspective to the commission, and so I can only hope that, we work closely together in the future with you in your role as the curator of Reflect Space, because I think that's, has evolved into an extremely important and increasingly relevant arts venue in our city and in the region. So I'll look forward to that. And that brings me to my comment, which is that before the meeting I had asked, I can't remember who I talked to, but I had asked about if we were going to amend our Arts Happens Anywhere call to include some language that addresses recent events that have happened, political and social events. Certainly we had the COVID isolation issues in mind, but now we have, essentially what we could call a revolution in progress. Things are changing rapidly, and the art world is responding to that. And I understood that there was going to be some discussion of that today, but there wasn't. So, I'd like to say that, one of the things that I experienced when I was involved in historic preservation and on the Preservation Commission was, that people really, there's always been this big elephant in the room about Glendale's past history, which is somewhat notorious and somewhat different than some of the surrounding cities around us. And, I know it's interested me personally for a long time, and I think it's been a topic of discussion in the last few weeks that we, in addition to, confirming our support for diversity, inclusivity, and complete abolition of racism and bigotry, that we take a very hard look at Glendale's past. And, that's not included on the city's. The city has a statement on the front of their website, and that isn't included. And personally, I think it should be. It's been discussed occasionally, but it's never really been discussed officially. And it seems like Reflect Space would be a remarkable place to, launch something, be it virtual or a combination of virtual and live, that really delves into Glendale's past history. And, the Historical Society, and I'm going on a limb here because I have no right to speak for them at all, but they have done, because of different things that have happened with some of the buildings in and around the city, have done a tremendous amount of research, took a really deep look at some of the things that have occurred in Glendale over the years. So there's a lot of information available about it. And, I myself have looked into it, but they've really taken a very, very close microscope to the issue. And there was even at one point the proposal, and I don't know what happened, but the proposal to demolish a home that had a very strong connection to Glendale's notorious reputation as a sundown city, and a person of color who lived there and kind of had to be hidden there. And they, took a lot of time and effort to really research all of this very carefully. And so there's certainly an opportunity for Reflect Space or whoever in the arts in Glendale is willing to partner with them to share this information with the public and do it in a very artful way, with an idea to mix art and to mix the social commentary on all of this. I think we really need to take a look at this and do something. And I wonder, it's a comment, and I would just wonder what people think of it, and I'd like it to be agendized for the next meeting if possible.
Okay. Was that
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And Commissioner Bador, I agree with your heartfelt words. The library has made a statement, and I'm fairly confident that's been shared with you, the link posted on our website about the tragedies that have happened, and I know Jennifer acknowledged it at the top of the meeting. But do know that we are planning to, I plan to work with Ara and Anahid Oshagan on this if they would be willing to do so, and I think they will. We've discussed it in the past. And, putting it in the, kind of national context as well as down to the local context. So certainly we will look to do that not just once, but as we go forward this year, and also, and likely virtually first, because as stated earlier, we're not open, and also look to convene panel discussions and other discussions to, not only not only reflect, but also help to identify ways forward. So please know that that's heard, and that we have been working on that in the background this last few weeks and month or so. And that is, as you already intimated, a lot of what Reflect Space is all about. It's titled before being named Reflect Space, and correct me if I'm wrong, was man's inhumanity towards man. While sexist, I think Reflect Space is a more beautiful title, but we all know those who do not pay attention to history are likely to repeat it. And so I had asked Ara and Anahid a long time ago when they would run out of topics, and I knew the answer when I asked them, and they both looked askance and said, well, never. And that's unfortunate, but we'll definitely be working towards this, and the library's made book lists available. The library's brought video content that's relevant available, and we will continue to work on this. Thank you.
Arlene, did you have any other comments to make?
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, and I think at this point in time, it's also a really great idea to, and this is probably part of your process as well, to bring some other stakeholders into the process too, to partner with. Obviously there's the issue of, in the past, clearly there was a real focus on keeping Black people out of Glendale, and Glendale was notoriously stubborn about letting go of those practices where other cities abandoned them. So that's a really obvious one, but, there's also the gay community and their history. The organization Black in Glendale should certainly get involved, and I think the Historical Society could make a lot of contributions because they've done a lot of historical research. So, and I'm sure there are others too, but it's a good opportunity to kind of come together as a community and include a lot of people in the process of making these discoveries and then making them public.
Agreed.
Chair Zalorian, if I could jump in real quick, is that possible?
Yes.
Arlene, I really appreciate your comments on that. And Director Schaefer and us, we spoke about this. In fact, when we were doing the Glendale immigration project, the Tell Me project, we spoke about including this part of Glendale's history as a kind of political issue that is really critical. But we didn't have enough space and didn't have enough time to bring that into the fold, but we have discussed it, and we are very much interested in doing such an exhibition, Reflect Space, in the future. And, we've done slavery exhibition. In fact, an African-American slavery-related exhibition was the second exhibition we did in Reflect Space way at the beginning in 2017.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was wonderful. I think what people don't realize is, I think we all realize it, but the general public doesn't realize how much, what you're talking about and squeezing it in, that the Glendale story is like a whole exhibit and a whole project in and of itself, really.
Yes, exactly. And that's the kind of thing that we've talked about. In fact, the Glendale Library has some archives that relate to this issue that have been collected over the years. So this is something definitely I think we will be tackling in the near future.
That's fantastic.
So I would actually like to chime in and give my comments because I think it will kind of round up everything that we've discussed. Well, first I'd like to comment on Commissioner Oshagan resigning. I know that you will probably still be in our meetings until you've been replaced. So I know we still have some work to do. But I'm very sad to see you go, and I do know that we will still be seeing you around and working together, and I would still love, of course, your opinion, and for you to still be part of the discussion and moving forward to still work together, of course. So thank you for your time served. You've been incredible to work with, and of course, we love you. But yes, so Commissioner Vidor.
I love you too.
Thank you. So, Commissioner Vidor, I know we discussed that. I had stated we would discuss having something regarding that topic, and actually I was leaving it for my comments because it was too late to add it onto the agenda. I do propose that we create a project to support Black artists and Black culture. It's not just to showcase the history of Glendale and racism in America. It's more to support, acknowledge, and amplify the Black experience, Black voices, and Black artists specifically in America and, of course, Glendale.
So to that end, how do we get that initiative into the proposals that we're putting out for, calls?
What I was going to state is I did at first think, yes, let's change the verbiage of the AHA, but why would we do that when we can come up with a completely new project only focusing on the Black experience and Black artists rather than changing just language? I don't think that's enough. Yes, we can do that. It's a little late to do that for the current ones because we've already received 100 applications and it's already closed now for the other 24. So yes, moving forward next year, we can incorporate that just like we incorporated mural art, but instead I want this to be more long-term. I don't want it to be a one-time, it's a phase. It's just something that's happening right now and people are latching onto it. No, this is something that needs to be, systemically incorporated into everything that we do, and it's at the core of, yes.
Thank you. Unfortunately, now we're getting into discussion, and so what I would propose is
I'm not. So I'm going to propose it for discussion next time. I'm just stating what I would like to see and giving my opinion. as many of the other commissioners did do. So I do want to propose that we put this as a discussion item on the agenda next time to discuss further. I do recommend and I propose that all commissioners, when they go home today and for the next month, to really dig deep and come up with some really good concepts, some ideas of what we can do and work with the stakeholders, reach out to them, whether it's Tara Peterson at the YWCA, whether it's Black in Glendale, anybody that we know in Glendale who can be part of this, or even outside of Glendale, the way we can kind of do outreach to the Black community in Glendale and outside, specifically Black artists. I know Jennifer did say that that is possible to reach out to specifically Black artists. And so I would like to have that on the agenda next time to discuss further, and we can come back with our ideas and kind of put it together and create something. This would be one to support the Black community of Glendale. It would be to celebrate diversity and a culture of inclusivity. And it would kind of be to right the wrongs of Glendale's past. I know that's very difficult to do considering our past, but I know that we can do better, and so it's kind of time to get to work. So that is all I have to say, and that can also
And
be...
Chair Zadorian, may I add, you are 100% correct in that, and Chair, former Chair, current Commissioner Vidor had reached out to us about changing language in it, and it was really just as you said, it was too late. It was already out there. It's unfair to the artists who'd already put proposals in, and I think you have a great idea. So let's definitely get that agendized for next meeting.
Yes, and that would also incorporate into kind of having something for the month of February, of course, as it is African American History Month, and we can tie that into kind of having different months be specific themes, like June would be for Pride for the LGBTQIA community. We can have one for Hispanic Heritage Month and moving forward, so we can kind of tie that into everything and discuss that further as we agendize it for our next meeting. And that is all from my comments as of today, and we can move forward to the next item.
I just wanted to quickly say, from my own personal comment, Commissioner Oshigan, it's been a pleasure and an honor to serve, to work with you on this commission. I've learned so much from you, and it's been really, really wonderful to work with you on this role in the commission. So thank you for your service and for your guidance on your role as a commissioner.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank
you. Great working with you.
Yes, thank you. We'll miss you.
And I concur with Jennifer as well, but I still can look forward to working with you quite a bit in your other capacity in regards to Reflect Space. So more to come on that.
Yes.
Commissioner
Oshigan, thank you, Gary. Yeah.
Commissioner Oshigan, wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Michael. It's been great working with you all these number of years now. It's been a few years, yeah.
We wish you were here in person, but we know we'll see you soon.
Do an air hug. Agenda item 8, written communications. We have none. So agenda item 9, adjournment.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're adjourned.
Thank you.